Hello and welcome to PME, and you're joining us for another Facebook Live event. So welcome to everybody wherever you're tuning in from. Today you've just had a look at the cake that we're actually going to be producing. We're going to be coating the boards with that wonderful different effect that we've got down there. Can't think of the word, so I'll move on. Marbling, thanks Pat. You know when your mind goes blank, mine's gone blank, but not to worry. We're going to be buttercreaming our cake in a really easy technique. So if you're a little bit wary, it's something that's highly achievable by anybody, even if you're an amateur and you're just starting out. Little bows as well we're going to be looking at doing, and obviously that lovely peony down at the bottom. Really interesting, beautiful cutters to show you how to use. So as ever, you can see we've got loads coming up. We'll be sharing some hints and tips with you just to make sure that you're kind of under starters orders and you have a good idea of what to be doing. So without further ado, I think we'll probably get going. We've got, just to let you know, we've got Peter on the camera today, so maybe a bit of a hello there or a nod.
Hello.
Hello, that's hello from Peter. We've got Pat as ever on the stop-go boards, feeding the information from upstairs from Samir, who's up there, making sure we can get all your information from upstairs to downstairs in our very high-tech way that we tend to do here. And you've got me, Paul and Cloud, head of school, who's going through all these interesting hints and tips just to be able to give you something interesting to be getting on with in your own time at home. So we're actually going to start off with a dinky little bow. So I'm going to head down this way. Here we are. And we're looking at drapes, gem bow drapes. So if I just show you this cutter, and Peter's going to home in, etc. So as you can see, we're going to be looking at doing the large one today. And I've got two smaller versions just over here. I'll slide them over for you a little bit, Peter. Now we're going to be using gum paste as well. And I've actually got these just laid here so you can have a little look. So a little bit different to the bows that we've done in the past. There you go. This is the large one. That's the small one, and the medium one is actually on the cake that Peter was just showing you a few moments ago. So I'm going to lose those ones just underneath here, and watch me forget that's where I've put them as well. So I'm just going to roll this out. Nice firm paste, so I've got my gum paste, plenty of stretch in there as you can see, and I've done a very nice lime crushed green on here as well, which is gorgeous. I'm heavily into lime crushed green at the moment. I thought my wires were toppling over then. If you'd have seen my face then, I was looking horrified. It seemed to be going in slow motion for a minute, then I thought they were going. There we go. So you want to roll this out nice and finely. Now what you can do is go with a double-sided effect with this. So roll out a second load of paste, and you can kind of see we've got a two-tone effect, which works really well here and on here as well. Particularly nice with that little drape as well. So I'm starting off with the bow. So if you're kind of a little bit late to the party, as they say, and you join us a little bit later, you're not going to miss that marbling on the board or the buttercream cake either. So I've got some green. I'm going to do a little bit of white to go with the green as well. Again, gum paste, so it's nice and firm. You can add in a little bit of petal base into there if you want to, just to help work it, just a little bit. Just get that going. Kind of doing a bit of a rectangular shape. And I'm going to lay this over the other paste. I can hear the chair creaking. This can only mean one thing. This can mean Pat has a shout out. Go for it, Pat.
I'm on my way, Paula.
Oh, my paste has gone like a rubber ball at the moment, actually, if I'm honest.
Will you keep rolling?
I'm going to keep rolling. That's what I'm going to keep doing. And everybody can have a giggle as they watch me roll and roll.
So some of our early shout-outs, Paula. We've got Norma, who says hello from Grimsby.
Oh, hello, Norma in Grimsby.
And Denise is from Fort Wayne in Indiana, USA.
Oh, wow, USA have tuned in. Hello, USA.
Yep. And
Great.
Then we head to South Africa.
Oh.
Natalie Pennell says hi from Johannesburg.
Hello, Joburg. As they say, that's how they do it, isn't it? That's the lingo, Joburg.
Right, you go.
Yep, Joburg. Yep, there we go. So I'm just adding a little bit of my favourite petal base just on that cutter there, just to help it release out. And it doesn't matter which way round you pop this on. I'm just going to carry on rolling my paste. I haven't got the best of shapes, but it needs to be fairly fine because I'm doing a double kind of layer on this. And I'm just checking it is actually going to fit the cutter. This one should be fine. Pretty much, and I'm going to lay one on top of the other. I haven't done a very neat job on that, but not to worry. And then I'm just going to blend them in together. There we go. Oh, thumbs up there from Pat. Chair was creaking again, so I instantly knew she was getting up. There's going to be a running commentary today as Pat heads our way. So that's just blended those two pastes together. So we've got the white and the lovely limey green. And we're just going to drop that over there. So now by the time I've finished rolling out the paste, you see it actually fits over the cutter. So over we go, because we've popped the petal base on there already. And I might actually sit down, I think, now as well for this. So I'm just going to wheel my chair in. There we go. Get myself comfy. Always get yourself comfy when you're doing what you're doing. There we go. So just tidying up the edges a little bit. Now you can do that with a ball tool or just with your finger or something like that. Oh, whoops. Another shout out there, Pat. Working well over there, I must say.
I think it's going to be a busy day.
Oh, that's good then. That's good.
So, yes, you're right. More shout-outs.
Oh,
so,
lovely.
first of all, Susan Weeks Smith says hello from Georgia, USA.
Oh, wow. Hi, Susan, Georgia, USA.
And
wow.
Paulina says hello from Holland.
That's a nice name. It's unusual. Paulina.
And Emma Searle says hi from Highgate, and she says she loves the shade of green and is sending you a smiley face.
Smiley face back.
And Marianne Gray says hello from California in the USA.
Wow, that's had a lot of shares over there then, I think. Right, so these are going to be our drape tails. This is going to be our centre section that just goes over here. So if I bring this in, you can kind of, and Peter can show you that as well. And this is going to be our main bow section. So I'm just going to kind of fold it over, or actually fold it in the other way. So you kind of know where your middle is, and then just give that a little pinch. So you're kind of gathering a little bit into the centre. Give it a little squeeze, and do the same thing on the edge. So you just kind of, a bit like a pelmet off a curtain. And that kind of give you your loops either side. Again, just fold, fold, squeeze. There we go. And then you can see just by folding that in, you've got the right look that you just kind of need. So a little bit of glue. If I just bring that in, not too much. So just down through the centre. And my paste is actually drying out quite quickly here as well. Just into the middle, give it a little squeeze. And you can either use this or this side as well. It's entirely up to you which one you want to go with. And again, just with the centre bit, I'm just going to put a couple of folds into that by doing a couple of those little creases again, like so. And the same thing, just the other side. So you all right there, Peter, getting all of this?
I believe so.
Jolly good. Oh, he's very vocal. This is really good. Oh, question from Pat.
This is a question you're going to love.
Oh, it's about the petal base, isn't it, Pat?
It is about the petal base.
Oh, thank you,
Yes.
whoever that is that's done that question.
Well, it's Louise Smith. She says she didn't hear what you said, that you rubbed into the cutter to release the shapes. Can you repeat it, please?
Oh, yes, gladly.
And by the way, she says hello from County Durham.
Hello, County Durham. If I didn't know better, you'd say that had been staged, really, wouldn't you, with the petal base, to be honest? It's a release agent, and Peter's just been showing you that there. And basically, it just means to say you can put it into your paste, if you've got your gum paste. Just helps it be a little bit more kind of like non-sticky. Pop it onto your cutter, helps it kind of stay in the cutter, but come out really easily as well. And as everybody knows, my favourite thing to do with it is to put it on your lips. So always have one for your handbag as well, no matter what you do. It's the best thing in the world. And nobody believes me most of the time until they've tried it for themselves, and then you'll soon find out just how good it really, really is. So there we go. So what I've done is, with the tail, we've done the same thing again. We've done this little concertina at the top. If I just hold that up there. And then just squeeze them along. You can see the paste is starting to dry a little bit now. But you can either have it this way round, or if you do it this way, you can see you get this really pretty little fold. So if I leave that one there, you can have a good look at that. So again, it's this side here that we're looking. It's the opposite of the angle that we're looking to be folding. So again, just pretend it's like a curtain top there. Leave it like this, or squeeze it in. Just kind of add into your creases, define them a little bit, and then you can kind of squash it all in and give yourself that nice, pretty little drapey effect. There we go. Don't be afraid to give it a little pinch in. There we go, and fold it in. It's just a bit different. It looks quite cute. So you can kind of see that coming together. And as you will see, I think I've done one way and one the other. What's to be different? So you've got the two choices there. So we can either have them that way round or that way round. I'm going to go this way round. So a little bit of glue just onto there. And just attach the bow onto there and job done. There we go. Just give it a little turn round. You can give it a little tweak and bend on the end as well, so it looks quite cute. Have them different lengths, whatever you want to do. Now what we've actually done on our cake is we've used a little wire. It's a little plastic wire, so it's safe to be going straight into the cake, and so it's nice and bendy as well, but it is actually very sturdy and very strong. And we can just attach the bow onto there and leave that to dry. I'm not sure it will dry very well, but I'm still going to pop it on there, to be honest. And we'll see if we've got it to attach. If not, I'll be doing another one probably later anyway, and we'll just attach that on a little bit later on. Oh, there's a question there. I didn't hear the chair this time, Pat.
Oh, you were concentrating.
I was busy concentrating. I'll leave that there. I don't think it'll be dry in time, but we'll give it a go.
So the question's from Carol Dignam, and she says, can you use fondant for these?
Doesn't work very well, to be honest. What you'll find is you won't be able to get it thick enough, and it'll probably stick inside your cutter. Modelling paste you can sometimes get away with, but definitely always go with gum paste. It tends to hold the shape much better as well afterwards. So you'll probably find you run into a few problems if you try and use your sugar paste, and it'll break up very quickly as well. So definitely worthwhile investing in some gum paste, and it'll actually go a lot further as well because you can roll it much, much thinner. So you should be well and truly on the way with that. Hopefully that helps. So we're going to head down this way. I feel like I have to bring Peter with me. I can't go too quickly because he's trying to keep up with me there. I'm going to pop some gloves on because I'm getting ready to do my marbling now. I can actually remember what it's called this time as well. I haven't gone blank straight away. You can see it's just really pretty. And all I've done is use some concentrate colours into there, but just not fully mixed it in. And I've been quite liberal. I always say be big, brave and bold, which is what my art teacher many, many years ago always used to say to me. I wonder what's happened to her now. Miss Murphy, her name was. So anyway, I've always tried to do that whenever I'm trying to be creative, is big, brave and bold. So there we go. Now I have pre-kneaded some sugar paste already, so I'm just going to make sure that I've given it an extra little go, just to make sure it's ready to roll, because we don't want to over-knead this once we've got our colours going through it. And I have popped my gloves on because I just want to make sure that I don't get into too big a mess. So if I add in a little bit of lime, well, no, I'll start with the pea green or sage green first of all. You use whichever colours you want to, your favourites, but this is what I'm using. Quite a good amount going through there. You can see that's quite intense. And then I've got the lime green, a lime crush green that I love. Love this colour. So just take the excess off a little bit, but again, a good enough amount that you can kind of really drag that through. And I'm not putting my cocktail sticks back into my pot, just in case anybody's wondering. There we go, so take that off there as well, so I haven't got too much. And just drag that through. And then you can wipe the excess across there if that's what you want to do. There we go. And then just fold those in. Now I've put quite a bit on there, so you'll be able to see very quickly what's going to happen and what's going on, and then just fold them in. And this is why I've got my gloves on. There we go. And just fold in. And if it goes onto the board, it will just lift straight out with the sugar paste. And then I'm going to flip back the other way. There we go, good job. You see I've got colour all over me, so that's very good. And then flip and fold. And you can start to see that's really starting to come through now as well. There we go, so I think that's probably going to be okay. And we'll roll it all up. And then we'll just start to roll that out and see what we get. The underside is always going to be the best, but we'll give it a go. We don't want to go too much. So I'll lose my gloves, grab some icing sugar and start rolling. There we are. So I've actually got the cake prepared already onto the board, and I'm not going to be able to duplicate what I've already got on there. There we go. That was a sigh there, Peter.
Just breathing.
Just breathing. Oh, that's nice. Peter's going to be chatting and communicating with me, which is always good. I do like that. So at the moment, I have to admit, I'm not happy with my marbling there too much. I mean, it's looking very pretty as I'm rolling it out, but we will turn it over so it will look better. So I'm quietly confident it'll be okay. It'll be all right on the night, as they say. There we go. I've got my board ready to one side. Give it a little lift, a little bit more icing sugar, a little wiggle round in there. Just bring it back round to shape a little bit more. There we go. I'm really pleased I put the aircon on because it is quite hot in here at the moment. Oh, we've got a shout out as well. That's a good point in time actually, Pat, while I'm doing this.
Well, I did wonder, while you're kind of rolling away.
Yeah, that's good.
First of all, from Sarah Zafar, she says hello.
Ooh, hello, Sarah.
Stephanie says hello.
Hello, Steph. Or Steph, I don't know if that's a Stephanie that I know.
I don't know.
I don't think it will be. No.
Anna Cruz says, morning, I'm from Hamburg, PA. So that's
Oh.
PA, is that Pennsylvania, PA?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not the best on geography, I have to admit.
Emmeline Domingo Padua says hi from the Philippines.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, I like that.
There we go. Now there's the little surprise. This is the underside, so I've now flipped it over. This is also why I wasn't using too much icing sugar. So you can see this is a much nicer look on the underside. And yeah, I think that's going to look nice. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue onto my board and then just wipe away the excess with a damp cloth. So I don't want it too sticky on there. There we go. There we are. That should be all right then. That's all ready to rumble. And just bring that in underneath. And just drop that into position. There we are. So some nice colours going on there. It's always interesting and exciting, so it's different every time, but that's nice. I'm happy with that. But what a difference to the underside that looked quite boring in comparison. It's kind of very, very smooth and blended, and then you get this lovely surprise on the other side where it's all pushed down underneath. Lovely colours. So nice and exciting. But I always put gloves on just in case for some reason it's kind of like not mixed in quite enough, and you might find you just get a little bit of the concentrate coming through. There we are. And then I'm just going to use my palette knife just to trim round and get rid of the excess, and then we'll tidy up our board. So if you've just joined us, we are actually completing from start to finish pretty much. Our cake that Peter was showing at the beginning, he's right there by it now. So you can see we're just doing the marbled board at the moment. We have done a bow already, but if anybody's kind of late joining in, we're going to go back to that later on anyhow. So that won't be a problem, so we'll repeat that. Do a bit of marbling on a little bow so you can have a little look and you can see what's what. And then we'll be doing our buttercream cake and some lovely peonies as well. We'll just be completing those that we've started already. And then fixing them all onto our cake. So we've got a shout out with Pat. She was looking really worried then. Like I was going to ignore her for as long as possible.
Well, I was starting to get that feeling.
No, I would never do that to you, Pat.
So we've got another lovely group here for you, Paula.
Oh, okay.
So Teresa Toomer says hi from Florida.
Oh, hello to Florida.
Linda Harrison says hi
Hi.
I'm not sure where Linda's from.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, Linda, all the same.
Elaine Long says hello from Botswana.
Oh, hello.
Linda Harrison says how beautiful.
Good.
I'm from Florida.
Oh, another Florida.
And guess what? Hello from Hong Kong from...
This is Peggy and Joseph, and this is Blossom Cake, isn't it?
It is indeed.
You're there every time. Hello again. And just in case you don't know, Peggy and Joseph with Blossom Cake are one of our approved, PME approved distributors. And they're on there just to kind of help out. If their customers need any advice or anything, they're there to help. Yeah, which is great.
And last but not least, Joa says hiya from London.
Hello, London. Yes. Okay, so there we've got our board. I think we're in a good place as far as that's concerned now. I'm going to have this bit probably to the front, I think, when our cake goes onto there. I'm not going to put it on there just yet. And we're just going to move over now because we're going to be looking at our buttercream cake. So here it is. Here we go. I've got it on its board that we're going to pop onto the board we've just completed. And I've got it on my nice turntable. I have put some matting on just so that it's not moving around too much, and I've got another mat just underneath because I know if I kind of push and do what I'm doing, it'll probably go straight into Peter, and I don't think he'll be too happy about that. So I thought it would be much better to be a bit organised. Right, I've got some colours ready too, and this is just white buttercream that we've got ready. Now, as you can see, we've got a good coating on here, a good deep crumb coat, just to make sure we don't pick up any crumb as we go back round again with our next coating. And I'm just going to paddle a little bit in the bowl before I pop that onto the side. Make sure I've got plenty on there. And it's quite a smooth, thin consistency because we don't want anything that's going to be too thick, or else that'll get us into bother. So we're just going to smooth that round, and we're not looking to have a perfect finish or anything like that because we don't need it. And I'm just going to take a little bit off around the edging there. I'm going to try and not drop it all over the board as well because I don't want to ruin what I've got down onto there. So I'm just smoothing it down a little bit onto that crumb coating, just so that it's a little bit tidier for working with. This is where it's going to probably get a little bit messy. If I twist it round a bit, and then Peter hopefully can see what we're up to. So just paddling as I go. Nice thin consistency, so it's not too thick and gloopy. There we are. Now I've just used a packet buttercream mix, so it's nice and white. So you can make your own though, very, very easily. And that's just using some white vegetable fat instead of your butter. But you might want a nice creamy kind of look to that. But you just got to remember that when you do add your colour into your white buttercream, you'll be working with what is a yellow base, so it will change your finished colour that you're going to be getting. So round we go. We've got a question. So Pat's there. Go for it, Pat.
Well, I've got a question and a whole load of shout-outs. So I'll just go for the question now,
okay,
and then you
Pat,
can let me know when you want to do the shout-outs.
Oh, okay.
Now,
lovely.
this question, I have to admit, is not one that I've come across before, so it's going to set your little brain box thinking.
Oh, dear.
It's come from Louise Smith.
Right.
Do you think there's any merit in baking the board with the icing on to harden it?
I'm going to be honest. I've never tried baking a board with icing on it. I could see how maybe it could be considered that could be good. I could also see maybe because it's a sugary thing, it might just heat it up. I just popped the whole thing in the fridge as it was, with the cake on the top to firm the cake up, and the board was fine. But I've not tried baking a board ever before. And I always say, if you've not tried something, be honest about it and have a go. The only thing I would be concerned about is that the board potentially could catch fire. You've got to be careful about that. It could warp depending on the quality as well. And obviously you've got sugar, and when sugar warms up, it starts to kind of melt and heat, and then potentially burn as well. So I would be very careful. I think you could find it just burns and you'll get that sugary burnt smell potentially, but I'm not 100% sure what would happen, to be honest. So maybe if you want to have a go and let us know the outcome, we'd be really interested to find out. Or maybe somebody out there has had a go at baking their board, the icing in place on there, and maybe you could let us all know what happened, if it was a disaster or if it was actually okay. So I'm just paddling round, just going up and down so it's not too messy. And then I've just caught round the base bit there, so I'm just going to infill that again. That's where I've been too heavy-handed. So I've just kind of lifted into my crumb coat, so I'm just going back over that, so Peter's just showing you. There we go, don't worry about it. There's always plan B. Oh, there's a question.
Well, it's not a question, actually.
Oh.
It's an answer to the previous question.
Oh, lovely, that's really interesting.
And it comes from Tanya Lotta Murray.
Right.
I'm not sure where she is.
Yeah.
And she says, I have successfully baked my fondant-covered boards in the past.
Oh, so do we know what oven temperature or anything?
I've got no more details
Oh, okay,
than
right.
that.
Oh, that's interesting. So the other lady could maybe kind of find out from there. That would be really good to know.
Okay, and
Right,
say,
lovely.
I do have quite a few shout-outs whenever you
Brilliant. Oh, okay, we're just going to go around the board now. So I've got my long tool scraper. Sorry, Peter. I'm just going to pop it on the side there, and we're just going to go round just to smooth away. And like I say, we're not looking for a perfect finish because we're going to do a little bit of other stuff to this, and we don't mind if we don't go all the way round in one fell swoop. And then we just get rid of the excess there. And then we can start to have some fun. So that'll be okay as it is, I think. We don't need to worry too much. So this is where if you're not kind of too happy with kind of getting a perfect finish, do not fear, do not worry. So I've just got some exciting colours over here in my pots. And I've got green, so this is like a sage or a pea type green. So what I'm going to do before I add that in, I'm just going to go into the centre and I'm just going to spin round just to give myself a little bit of a guide on the top there. I'm just going to add in a little bit of colour where I've gone along with my lines, only because on the top it's just easier to follow, I find. And then I'm going to bring in lime green, a lime crush again, my latest fascination. I do like that colour, it's lovely though. And you don't need too much, and I'm just kind of randomly dabbing that in place where I've got that line. And then I'm going to bring in some pink. I'll do the same thing, doesn't need to be too much, it's just a small amount. I'm going to do it into the middle and then round randomly on the top. Ta-da! There we go. And then you can see I'm going to follow round and then just finish across the top. Let's get rid of the excess. And then across and around down the side of the cake, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So just randomly, and I'll cover over, and this is where it doesn't matter if that's what you've done. I'm just covering over, and I'm going to keep the dark green to the bottom. Spin around so Peter can see. There we go. Just put another bit around over there. Just wipe that off. There we go. Go with a bit of green as well. Again, just going to place it randomly, but if there's any areas you really want to cover, just cover them over. There we go. And I'm probably adding more than I did originally, but that's just so that you can get the full effect. There we go. And then the pink, last but not least, a little bit of colour. There we go. Oh, I've just caught the side of my cake. You said it boded well earlier, didn't you, Pat? Look, I've got buttercream all over me now. Look, just going to wipe that off. There we go. There we are. This should give us some nice colours and nice tones. You can have as much or as little on here as you want. There we are. And a bit more. Is that enough, do you reckon? Shall I put any more on there, Peter? What do you reckon?
Plenty.
That's plenty. That said, that's far too much that you've put on there, Paula. There we go. Just wipe that clean. So as we're keeping clean as we go. And I'm just going to smooth it round just a little bit, and I'm just going to take that little bit off there as well. And then I'm just going to smooth round a little bit, just to blend those in with what I've already got. This is where you can kind of see it all kind of smoothing in. Like I say, it doesn't matter, you don't have to do this in one fell swoop, or just suit yourself how you want it to go. And if you want to go round again, you can go round again until you're happy with the look that you've got. So there's no pressure, you've got that coat on underneath there already, so you can go round as many times as you want. So that's not too bad, is it? Stop, start, go round again. So you've got an area that's white and you want to add in a bit of colour. I've got some still down on my scraper, so you're just kind of blending it in as you go. I don't think that's too bad. I think that will do. And then the next fun bit is we get the knife, and you can start at the bottom or the top and just spin round and drag the tip of the palette knife just through the colour. So it gives you this kind of look. You getting that okay, Peter?
Yeah, perfect.
Jolly good. That's what we like to hear. Not going too fast, so you can kind of get it all. And up to the top. And then if you're not happy with that edge, we can just kind of smooth round into that as well. And that gives us that kind of really nice, kind of a little bit rustic looking kind of finish. Colours, buttercream, all of that. So it's looking quite yummy and quite tasty as well. Right, so let's just make sure we've got this covered over in case we come back to any of this a little bit later on and we need any of the pots available. Just put a cover over those. And we've got a question. There we go.
Well, I'm kind of following on here a bit, Paula.
Oh, is it the baking board?
Because I've still got a whole bunch of shout-outs, and I'm really not sure if we're going to get round to them all, but we'll see. But first of all, if we can just kind of tie up this baking board.
Okay, baking board.
Tanya is actually from South Africa.
Right.
And she says she turns the oven up to about 70 and then bakes fondant with CMC stroke gum paste.
Okay.
Covered board for about 20 minutes, leave to cool for about an hour. Rock hard.
Oh, lovely. That's handy to know. Thank you.
Rosanna, I think it might say from Brazil, but I'm not sure. Or maybe her name is Basil. I'm very sorry, Rosanna. I have baked boards when I need it to dry quick. Put the oven on at 170 preheat, turn the oven off, put the board in for 10 minutes, take it out, let it cool, comes out great.
So that's a variation, isn't
A variation.
It? Yeah,
so
that's good.
obviously it's something well worth a try.
Yeah, so it's a little bit like a drying area,
Yes.
drying kind of oven type of thing.
And we've got one question about the cake.
Right.
And that's from Ajayo, and she said, did you dowel the layers, or are they sandwiched with buttercream and stacked up?
No, they're just sandwiched with buttercream and stacked up. No doweling going in there, just straight one on top of the other. Nice good dollop of buttercream in there, and then just your usual kind of quite thick coat across there, just to kind of give it a nice skin all the way round, apart from the bit where you saw that I pulled it back off again, but we mended. But no, so don't worry about that, just all together. Okay, so I'm going to be sitting down again for a little bit, I think, probably. And we're going to be looking at the peony now. So if we start off with the centre of the peony, if I bring this in so Peter can kind of have a little look at that. And it's just a ball of paste, and we're just going to roll it so we've got rid of all our creases. And it's quite a sizable centre, and then just a slight pinch. If I hold that to the side, you can probably kind of see quite a soft little pinch going on there. And then just a pair of scissors. I've kind of gone slightly off green because I know that it's better for Peter than when it's white as well, because it can flare sometimes. And then I'm just going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to kind of go to cut in, but not fully cut, if you can see. So it gives you a bit of an embossed pattern, but nothing is actually being cut. So just go about halfway down, and then just work your way along and around. And that gives us a little bit of a pattern. There we go, and you can change that. Sometimes I do make the cuts in it, sometimes I'll use a smiley face end of a spade tool, or whatever you want to call it, smiley face tool. There we go, so that gives us our other little centre. And then I'm just going to bring in a little bit of kitchen towel, and I'm going to bring in my colours. I actually kept my colours when I was colouring the other day, because I just thought it might be a little bit easier to do that, because then you can see the colours that I've actually ended up using, actually kind of sitting there ready, so you can see what I've been doing. Now, use whatever colours you want to. I've just kind of like started to kind of create a bit of a palette going on there, which is what I like to do. And a little bit of yellow perhaps going on here would be quite nice, which is what I've done just over here if I bring this one in here. And a little bit of pink maybe going on there. And you can chop and change it, it's up to you. I'll go with the slightly, well, no I won't, I'll use the soft one that we've just done. So quite liberal, just straight onto there. That's actually a sunny yellow, or canary yellow I think it is that I'm using. There we go. Sunny yellow is a concentrate paste. It's canary yellow is the dust. There we go. And then we can just swap into a little bit of the pink. There we go, which is actually some red velvet. So just dust that across there just to give it a little bit of a look of shading. And that's our centre ready to go. And then we're going to look at some petals. So I'm not making every single petal, but as you can see, I've got this one partly done, and at the moment I've got 4 petals in there in place ready, and I'm just going to add the next one in there for you. So I'm just going to drop that down there out the way, place that over there. So if I bring in the Peony cutter, you can have a little look, give it a push there. You can see that really lovely veining that's on there, and this is great because a little bit later, if I bring in the bud that I've done, you can see we love to kind of use them in different ways, sometimes on the outside, sometimes inside, and we can just catch those veins because they're kind of upright really nicely with some colour in there as well. So if I just leave that one there, and then we've got the medium size, which is just here, again the same. And then that large one, if I just bring them in, you can see all of those lined up there. Now these are so easy to use and you get fantastic results with them, and I just find that it makes it very, very simple and easy to put the flower together. Obviously we're doing unwired. You could wire these if this is what you actually wanted to do. Now I've got some paste already rolled out over here because I wasn't too sure how it was going to behave. Again, this is gum paste that I've got sitting here. Just going to turn it over and give it a little bit of a rub on the surface just so that it's free moving. You can use your corn flour if you want to, but it's just a bit easier, stops it drying out in all the wrong places if you just give it a little whoosh round. Make sure that's not too sticky and tacky on the top as well, just by giving it a little flip around a little bit more. So if I cut all of these out now, I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do. So give it a little push, and then we can just push that out, and you can have a little look there. And at least if I've got all these cut out ready, it saves me trying to re-roll my paste out. So medium cutter now, again little wiggle there, and a little cut out, and a little pop out there. And then our large one, if I flip them around that way for Peter and spin that round there, that could be better. And again, a little push in and a pop out. So you could make all of these ready ahead of time if that's what you wanted to do, and then just use them as you go. And pop that back into my bag, and away we go. So I've got a series of different stages ready to go, so that we don't have to worry too much. Oh, just uncovering my paste for later for my leaf as well. So there we go. So if I start by just curling and shaping all of these, and then we can kind of like put everything together. So I'm just going to thin the edges. Now what I sometimes do on the inside one, because it's round the bud, I like to have a little bit of the veins showing, so I flip it the wrong way round. So it gives us a little bit of texture on the outside just to pick up that colour. So just thinning it down, just with the large side of the bone tool, each side to thin it, and a little bit on the surface. It's going to be quite tight to that bud, so you don't need to do too much. And then you can just pull that back to give it a little bit of shape, like so. And then if you want to carry on shaping, and you've got a few minutes to do so, you can just pop it into the tray just before we start to look at colouring that. So we're going to have, in the centre here, we're going to have probably 4 or 5. I chop and change. If I want to put 6 on, then I do. I'm not really too bothered. And then we kind of look at the medium one. So again, you can have these all prepared if you want to, because we're off wire anyway. Again, just thin down around the outside edge. And the same thing, there we are. This time I've got the veins so that they're going to show on the inside, and then just come round on the other side as well. And just pull that into the middle a little bit. Now into the centre, if you just kind of pop it into your hand normally, because I don't want to lose my veining, and just give it a little push. That keeps the veins in there and it just gives it a little bit more shaping. And again, I'm just going to place that into the little petal holder just to give it some extra shape while it dries a little bit in there. And again, on the large one, just the same thing, thin that down around the outside edge so you've got a nice shape coming through on there as well. And again on there. Now you can use your ball tool if you prefer, it's entirely up to you. Whatever you feel happiest with. And use whichever paste that you prefer using for your best results. So again, just around the outside edge, just to give it a little bit of shape. Now what you can do as well is maybe use the flat end of the leaf veining tool just to give it a little bit of extra movement in between, so that when you're kind of pinching it and twisting it, it just gives it a little bit of an extra kind of realistic look. Obviously we're not doing anything botanical, but it's just nice to have a little bit of extra interest on the petals sometimes. And just pull that in a little bit. Again, just helping to thin and shape it a little bit more. And again, just into your hand. Give it a little push into the palm of your hand, and then I'm going to sit that back into that little petal former. But you can see that's given it a nice little shape. And then I'll come back to those and do the same thing again. Just make sure they're drying okay. So then we're going to look at a bit of colour onto our petals as well, and then we can start putting everything together as well. So if I leave those there, so if Peter wants to show you those lovely little peony cutters, he can kind of home in on there as well at some point. Oh, some shout outs. Pat did say she had quite a few, I know.
Oh, there's quite a backlog.
Oh, Pat, what have you been doing?
Hold on. Right, here we go.
Okay.
I'm hoping I haven't missed anybody, and I'm sorry if I have. Francis Marlowe, I think it's Francis Marlowe King, says hello from North Carolina.
Wow, North Carolina, there's loads from that neck of the woods.
There is,
wow.
Yeah, America's well represented today.
It is, isn't it?
And Nidai says she's from India, and she says nice. But this was back when you were doing the cake.
Oh, okay.
You've got to remember.
So, yep, that's a little while ago.
Vic Lamb says hello from Macau.
Macau's what? Oh, lovely. Hello.
And Arsena says hola. And
is that hola?
Hola. Sorry, I'm not
hola.
very good. Hola.
Hola. Get into the ho, Pat.
Sorry.
Hola. Hola.
Florida. And Andrea you know what I want to say.
I do.
Pastera says, hi, love PME schools.
Oh, that's really nice, isn't it?
Rosanna Basil says, hi from Chicago. Esmeralda Rizzo says, hi from Texas. Maribel says, hi from Arizona. And Carrie Ann says, hello from Oregon.
Oh, wow. That's been loads, hasn't it?
And there's
Absolutely
a load more
loads.
still waiting.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have a little catch up there again in a minute.
Yes.
So I've just put, okay, so I've just put some lovely vivid yellow. So what I'm doing is I'm colouring up to match the cake because it's quite vibrant. So I've ladled on my yellow canary colouring on there, and I'm adding in some green. Now the green that I'm using is actually pistachio sparkle because it's got a little glint, and I don't know if Peter will be able to catch that up. But I'm just kind of, again, being quite liberal, both sides with that as well. Just really, like I say, be big, brave and bold with those colours going on. We're going to bring in some pink as well. But look, you can see that's really lovely. It's just nice to have that little bit of extra zing in on this. And we're going to blend it all with the pink in a minute anyway. So we don't mind if it's going on liberally. And it's all about the colour, making it look really, really jazzy and bright. Very, very feminine as well. So that's those. And then a little bit of pink to go in on here as well. So these are kind of semi-dried. They're not totally dry, they're semi-dried. And you could do them when they're a little bit wet as well, but I just prefer doing them when they're kind of somewhere in between. So as you can see, I've got a variety of kind of colours mixing into here, going through various shades from pale pink right the way through to even a little bit of hint of blue, until I kind of pick up in the colour that I actually do want, just by kind of mixing them all in together and then bouncing the brush around. And then when I'm happy, I can just pull in a little bit of colour just along here. And at the same time blend in against that yellow, as you can see. Just sneaking into where we've done the ball tooling there, or the bone tooling. And that kind of then really, you can see how that's really picking up on those lovely little veins there, which is really, really great. Beautiful colours. And again, just onto the back if you want to. And it's nice because with this particular flower, you kind of really get to see inside, so you see the backs. So it's always nice to put a little bit of a colour across those. Don't forget our little one. Nearly forgot that one. Again, just on those edges there as well. There we go. And across the back again as well. And again, you can just blend that colour there. How are you doing, Peter? Are you okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. This is Peter's first time doing this one, isn't it, Peter?
Yep, first time.
Yeah. As long as you don't say it's the last, that's the main thing.
Never again.
It's nice because he's communicating with me. I do like that. That's good. You haven't gone quiet on me or anything, Peter. You said you were going to. So I'm really pleased that you haven't, but I've dropped you in it really, haven't I? So, no, that's great. There we go, so that's really pretty. What I'm also going to do is add a little bit of concentrate just on the edge, because on our cake that's what we've kind of used for the marbling. So I think it's nice to just pull that through. And again, you've got that lovely, lovely veining in there. Peter's got a really good shot of that. Super duper stuff. Got a little bit on the back. So I'm just going to use a little bit of concentrate. I've got the brush loaded up already. It looks a little bit messy. But I'm going to take the excess out because I don't want very much at all. So if I bounce that around there and then just pull it across on the edging, pop it back on the kitchen towel, you'll be able to see a little bit better. If you think there's too much on the brush, take it out. It's much easier to build up than it is to try to take things off. Well, you can't take it off once it's on there, can you? So just got to be a bit careful. And then when you're happy, you can just brush that across those veins as well, and then it really helps them to stand out. And don't be afraid to go onto the back as well and just add in a little bit of colour onto the back there too. So if we just get that done with all of them. Again, a little bit, not too much. And you can use whichever is your favourite colour. I've got the hot pink. And again, that's just because that's what I've used on the board, so I'm just picking up all my previous colours. There we go. And a little bit, again, just catching that colour there, so that really shows up nice and gives it a nice vibrant look. There we go. That looks quite nice. Quite happy with that so far. And you can always go back and add some more if you need to. And this is probably where I find out my colours don't match from what I had previously done, but we can darken, look, and it doesn't really match, but we can go back over and we can darken everything down if we need to, which we will do just briefly. There we go, just bounce in a little bit more colour, and straight away that starts to bring that in where we need it to be. There we go. But I'm not here to play, am I, Pat? No, I'm not here to play. So we've got a shout out. There we go.
So I've got quite a collection for you again, Paula.
Okay.
So while you kind of dust away.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, not playing though, Pat, remember?
No. So first of all, Patricia says hello from Miami in the USA.
Oh, lovely.
Christine Pomeroy says delightful.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
good to
sure
know.
where Christine's from.
Okay.
Another name from Hong Kong that you'll recognise, Maggie Lamb.
Oh, hello, Maggie.
Says
Yes.
hello.
Hi, good to see you or hear you. Hello. Hope you're keeping well.
Iris Manco says ciao from Napoli.
Oh, lovely.
Shirley Kwan says hello from Hong Kong.
No, Shirley as well. Yep, lovely. Hello, Shirley too.
Anna Cruz says thanks for doing the video and sends you a smiley face.
Oh, lovely. No problem.
Debbie Peter says hello from Sweden. Valerie Kennedy Temple says hello from Dublin in Ireland.
That's really, really good.
Juan Havilia says hello from the USA. Ratna Teesner says hello from Bandung. Helen Bork says hi from Brisbane, Australia. And Catty Klein says good morning from Oregon.
Oh, wow. That was a huge amount of shout-outs. Huge amount. Okay, so what you can see is that we've just added our extra petal onto here. And over on this one, I've put our third petal in. So we've got the 2 layers going in over there. And then for our last one, we've just got this here. So there we go. A little bit of glue, and this is just kind of positioned in onto this one. And that just creates that final setting. This is then ready. A little bit of glue into the middle. Has dried a little bit. But that's okay, we knew it would. And then we can just lever this dried one into the centre. Give it a little push, and it should still be okay for finishing. That's then ready to pop in position onto our cake, which is just over here. So you've got the gist of all the different layers that's going onto there. And we can just then add that onto our board over here. So I'm just going to bring that in, pop that in position. There we go, give that a little spin round, and we can have our peony just sitting in here. So if we just position that there. Now you can do some leaves if you want to. With the lily cutter, and we've just got one ready here that you can see. A little bit of dust onto here as well. We've got some green dust we can just add in onto here, which I've managed to get all over my handle. So again, just a different variation of your colours. Mix them all in. Nice liberal amount of dust just onto there. That was just using a lily cutter and a few leaf veinings along there, like you normally would do with your leaves, just with the sharp end of the leaf veining tool, and a little bit of glaze over onto that one just to give it a little bit of sheen, if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a spray. There we go. And then that can just position in there. Obviously you can, oh sorry Peter, I'm making you run up and down, aren't I? So that could just sit in underneath there. You can have 2 or 3 of those going on if you want to, and we can just add in our bow across the side. I'm not so sure that's going to be dry just yet, to be honest, but we'll have a little look. We'll just push that in and pretend it is dry. So there we go. Don't think it is quite where it would be. What you need to do is give that a little while just to be able to be ready before you're kind of pushing that on. So that just gives you an idea of how that all fits together. So hopefully that's given you some food for thought, and you've seen some ideas that you can then go away and have a little go with yourself, from the board to the lovely peony and buttercream cake ideas as well. You can see in the background also, this is the bigger cake that we've got here, and we've added some extra wires in there as well, some sparkle tape, which we quite often do. So if you need to kind of like add a little bit of extra zing, just tape over some sparkle tape onto your wires, and then just create your shapes for an extra little bit of wow to go with that then there as well. So hopefully you've learnt and seen some ideas that you can go away and have fun with yourselves at home. Keep in touch, maybe send us some photos, send them into K-Kit if that's what you want to do, because we would love to see your versions of whatever we're doing here on Facebook Live. We race through everything every time we know, but it's still really good to see what maybe you'd make of that and what you do with it and your take on things as well. And thank you for the information on the baked board. That was very interesting as well. We're going to have to try that, I think. Okay, well, have a great time wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in here at the team at PME. It's been an absolute pleasure, and have fun, and we'll see you next time. And thank you. Bye-bye.